Did you know that 366 people are running for president of the United States in 2016? Hi, I'm Blanquita Cullum. This is the Hard Question Podcast. It's pretty unbelievable, huh? Who are these people? I mean, some are old, some are new, but the bottom line is, guess what?
I'm back.
That's right. They're back. And frankly, who are they again? Because you've got over 150 Republicans, you've got 100 plus Democrats, you've got independent parties, libertarian parties, Green Party, Socialist Party, you've got the People's Justice Party, you've got the Pirate Party. Goodness gracious, you've got more parties than you can imagine. It's like a frat party. But honestly, we need to take a look tonight and figure out who are viable, who's hot, and frankly, who have jumped the shark. Now, when you talk about jumping the shark, what does that term mean? Well, it goes back to the 1970s and an episode of Happy Days when the Fonz put on a pair of water skis and just jumped over a big cage of sharks in the ocean. And the funny thing is they said after that episode, Happy Days had really hit its peak. It had jumped the shark. So now when you hear that you say jump the shark, you can talk about a politician, you can talk about a person, a project, a theme. When they've jumped the shark, they've hit their peak. So let's take a look. All right, let's start with the Republicans because we've got a big group there right up front. And some say that by the time we actually get to the debates, there'll probably be about 30 people on that dais. Can you imagine that? All right, let's start with former Governor Jeb Bush. He almost jumped the shark because of his last name. That name has had a little bit too much wear, but he's coming back. He's still viable, so I'm going to keep him in the mix. Senator Rand Paul, he is someone that people are still looking at. He's a libertarian for all practical purposes, even though he's got an R next to his name, he's viable. How about Senator Ted Cruz? He hasn't been around as long as the others, and he might be the prize that surprises. He might come out and be the dark horse that could take the game here because he's very strong. Yes, he's viable. Also, looking at viability, let's talk about Senator Marco Rubio. A lot of attacks on him about his home, about his boat, about this and that. But ironically, all those attacks have been a boost for him, and his viability has gone up considerably. How about Carly Fiorina? Carly Fiorina is the one who the Republican Party is kind of looking at as the pit bull who's going to be out there and make Hillary Clinton be held to an accountability that she may not be if it's just a group of men. But on the other hand, she's a very savvy woman. So let's see how this works out. She's viable in a couple of ways. She'd be a strong number two if they decide to have a vice president. But frankly, she's looking like she can hold her own, and she might end up being a very strong number one contender. Let's go to Senator Lindsey Graham. I got to say, a lot of people are saying he's so powerful as a United States senator making a difference. He should hold on to that power position and not put himself in a compromising situation where he'll jump the shark. So, yet to be seen, I'm saying not as viable. Former Governor Rick Perry from Texas, potentially jumping the shark. He's run this race before. Maybe he might be viable. That is yet to be seen. Let's take a quick look at the rest of that group that you might know. For example, you've got Governor Pataki, who's going to announce or has announced that he's going to run. You've got Congressman Peter King. You've also got Senator Rick Santorum from Pennsylvania. You've got Governor Chris Christie. You've got Governor Mike Huckabee. The list goes on, including Governor of Ohio John Kasich. A lot of those guys have had impressive careers, but frankly, I got to tell you, most of them have jumped the shark. They have jumped the shark. So let's take a look at the Democrats. Joe Biden, been a very impressive career that he's had throughout his years, but long years, serving as vice president, maybe a bit too old, and frankly, a lot of people say that he has jumped the shark. Let's take a look at Senator Jim Webb from Virginia. Senator Jim Webb, still right up there, even though people know his name, they don't know him well enough. That may hurt his viability, but he's still in the game. Now, let's take a look at the former governor of Rhode Island, Lincoln Chafee. I think the guy has jumped the shark. People are talking about Bernie Sanders. Bernie Sanders has a lot of charisma. People like him from the left. I don't see him as a viable number one, but he could be a number two. So he hasn't completely jumped the shark. Now, I don't want to avoid the one that we're all talking about, at least in hush whispers. People are saying, has she jumped the shark or has she not? And of course, I'm talking about the former senator from New York, the former Secretary of State, the former First Lady Hillary Rodham Clinton. Well, I think she's viable mainly because she really looks like the only dog in the race that's got a big name. I mean, the others are formidable, but she's in there. The only problem she has is that she's put a big moat around her life. She refuses to answer any questions. The press she's labeled as the enemy. And what does that say? Here's the hard question. What would she do if she were president of the United States? If she's not answering questions right now, if she won't let you know who she's contacted, if she's covering up her emails now, what would happen if she had the highest office of the land, President of the United States? We got more candidates coming out of the woodworks. They're coming out like crazy. And we'll discuss them as they come out. But of course, I want to hear your thoughts. I'm sure we've missed a few of your favorites, and maybe you don't agree with me. Maybe you think some of the people I say have jumped the shark are viable. Let us know. Comment, won't you? I'm Blanquita Cullum. This is the Hard Question Podcast. We'll talk again.